and welcome to our viewers from around the world. I'm Kristen Schwartz, licensed midwife and MC here at Gold Learning, and I'm here today with Jen Tedder. Welcome, Jen.
Oh, hello. Nice to see you.
I am so happy to see you here today, Jen. It's such a pleasure to host you here today. And I'm very excited because, Jen, you will be speaking for us at the Gold Midwifery online conference of
Yes.
2021. And Jen, I am familiar with your program and, through my journey here as a midwife. So, but
Good.
tell our listeners a
Exciting.
little, first of all, where in the world are you? And tell us about your journey and about, of course, your program as well.
Oh, thank you. Yes. Well, I'm sitting here in Durham, North Carolina, in the United States, and I'm so happy that I spent my career as a nurse practitioner and a lactation consultant, and over the years created the Hug Your Baby program. And I've, 30 years, many decades later in primary care, I've now focused mostly on my outreach with my Hug Your Baby program, which is a program that provides continuing education for professionals and resources for parents that help us all understand how babies communicate, how they develop, how we can breastfeed them, how we can feel close to our children. And so that's really what most of my focus is now. During the COVID times, I'm doing a lot of Zoom presentation to both professionals and parents. And of course, I have a part-time virtual lactation consulting program as well.
Absolutely wonderful. I can hear that from your passion in your voice that you really poured your heart and soul into this. You're very passionate
Yes.
about helping families and care providers, of course, too, helping their clients and families that they serve as well. And I can see that all
Mhm.
your, how many years of experience did you pour into this?
Many decades. At one point, we like to stop counting, but but I like to think about when I was early in my career. I had the great privilege to go to a conference and hear Dr. T. Barry Brazelton speak.
Oh, yes.
And some of us old timers know that he was a renowned pediatrician from Harvard. And over his career, he developed two programs. And the first program I heard about was called the NVAS, the Neonatal Behavioral Assessment Scale. And I was actually certified in this exam over the years that followed. But what was so exciting about hearing him speak was that he helped me understand that we could be trained to look very closely at a baby, very closely at dozens of reflexes and behaviors in a baby, and really come to understand the competency of the baby and the challenges that the baby and the parent might experience. I thought of an example that I love to share, which is if you can imagine a midwife holding up a little newborn and the mother standing beside the baby and calling the baby's name, and that baby being able to turn and look right into her mother's face. Wouldn't that be remarkable? And that's what we know babies can do. On the other hand, there might be some challenges, like maybe a midwife is working with a 1 week old baby who frequently changes states, goes from being asleep and drowsy to just waking up wildly awake. And the mother has to spend a lot of time trying to calm the baby down before she can put the baby on the breast. So that's kind of a challenging
Mhm.
behavior that a baby would exhibit. And so what my passion that grew over the years was how much parents love to understand their baby and how this was really practical information, but practical information that I was kind of trained to see. I love that kind of takeaway from Dr. Brazelton. And then the second takeaway, which was stories really work.
Mhm.
Parents love stories. We love stories as learners. And fortunately, video is really important to teach parents and professionals about babies' behavior because it's a little bit better than them trying to speak for themselves, I think, right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That sounds absolutely wonderful. I can see that, you're talking with such passion there as well.
Yes, yeah.
And you're so right. Babies don't come with a manual. They're not born with a little handbook that you can just open up. And for many parents, it is very challenging to understand babies'
Yes,
behavior, and they're
yes.
so worried and so worried that they're doing everything right. And
Hmm.
what if, because the baby can't talk, of course, telling us what a baby needs, right? So um,
Right,
there
right.
is kind of that need for education.
That's right. And that's really what I've spent my focus on Hug Your Baby about.
Mhm.
The second kind of piece of Dr. Brazelton's information that I've sort of put some practical feats on is his work called Touch Points. And what he did with that work was he looked at how a baby's changing development impacts the parenting and breastfeeding experience. So, for instance, we take something as common as a 4 month old whose brain is surging in development so much
Mhm.
that when the mother puts the baby on the breast, the baby keeps pulling off and looking around the room. And so an intelligent mother might say, gosh, this baby must want to wean. But those of us who study child development know that that's an example of normal behavior. And what we understand about babies' behavior is that if parents misunderstand that normal behavior, they're likely to add formula, decrease their confidence as parents, and even increase postpartum depression. So that's what
Mhm.
Hug Your Baby's been on the road to help families and the professionals who care for them understand babies' behavior.
Beautiful. Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing that. Now let's talk briefly about the presentation here. Your presentation at the Gold Midwifery Online Conference is titled Midwives Hold the Key, Opening the Doors to Early Parenting and Breastfeeding Success. That sounds exciting to me. So tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah. Well, I think what I'm getting at here is that it's so critically important that parents have this point of view that babies can communicate and that
Mhm.
there really are these developmental changes over time that impact that parenting and breastfeeding experience. And so, what I find to be the case is that when parents get through the worry, the challenges, and the excitement of giving birth, a lot of them go into the community and really find pediatric practices that pay attention to milestones like when does your baby roll over, when does
Mhm.
your baby start taking solids, but not equip that mother to understand that baby's normal changing development. And what I'm excited about doing with our presentation here is using a lot of the video that I've used over time to help providers and parents understand a baby's behavior and paying a special attention to this remarkable body of literature now called responsive parenting, the power and the critical importance of helping a parent notice, understand, and then take action in response to their baby's behavior. And a lot of this material is based on my Hug Your Baby program. We developed 5 online courses that are translated into 6 languages. They've been shared with 46 countries and tribal nations around the world, and we've had over 12,000 professionals take our Hug Your Baby online courses and study our materials. So I'm just very excited that some midwives might find that this is sort of an easy way to help parents understand a baby's behavior and really in a way that's kind of a turnkey situation because I know that midwives are so busy with the
Mhm.
multiple things they have to tend to. And I feel like we've set these materials up in a way that it can be just integrated into a midwifery practice and made available to parents without a lot of extra effort on the part of the midwives.
Beautiful. So that, yeah.
Yeah.
And also very easy to understand for the parents too, especially.
Yeah, that's
That's
right.
wonderful.
That's right.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you
Well,
so, yeah,
you
go ahead.
welcome. Well, I was going to
Yeah.
say one other thing. We're really focused on what we call family friendly language. And a tiny example of that is so much fun, which is that the medical literature refers to babies as having a physiologic stress response when they get a little overstimulated. But we like to help parents understand when your baby's sending out an SOS, which means, Mom, I need a little bit of help. So this is just an example of how I feel like we are really helping professionals speak the language of parents rather than the
Mhm.
other way around. So I
Yeah,
hope some of our midwives will find this inspiring and help them feel that this would enhance their practices.
beautiful. Sending out an SOS. So, Jen, before I let you go, where can we find you? Do you have a website for us?
Yeah, we're at hugyourbaby.org.
Mhm.
And that's where we have a lot of videos. We also have some Hugs Around the World lullabies. My husband, who's a professional musician, and I wrote lullabies that teach about child development. So that
Oh,
might be something some of your midwives would enjoy seeing as
absolutely.
well.
I will need to check that out. Well, thank you so much, Jen Tadder, for sitting
Yeah,
down here with me, chatting about the presentation, the amazing work you're doing out there for those
good.
midwives,
Thank you,
care
Kristen.
providers,
Yes,
and parents as well.
thank you for having me. I'm a lucky lady.
And to our viewers now, if you would like to find out more about the Gold Midwifery online conference and this presentation and the other presentations in the conference, we would like to invite you to visit goldmidwifery.com and we hope to see you at the conference. Bye bye, everyone.